The Real Angler Podcast with community Kevin Brannon is brought to you by Daiwa. If you want innovation and quality in your fishing products, Daiwa has what you need. Costa Sunglasses. Discover life's greatest adventures with Costa. Built to look good and be tough. Promar and Ahi USA. Premium fishing products and accessories with concepts developed by passionate anglers. Channel Island Sport Fishing. Offering deep-sea fishing on quality sport fishing charter boats. And more. Mossy Oak. From hot days in the water to sweltering afternoons in the woods, we've got you covered. Outfit your obsession. The Latino Business Expo, Ventura County's largest networking event. Special thanks to Bruce at Kirby Subaru in Ventura. It's the Real Angler Show, live here on Rough Edge FM. And now, here's your host, Kevin Brannon.
What up? What up?
Now, I have to interrupt real quick here. I'm sorry. This is the Real Angler Podcast. This is Kevin Brannon. But it is also Kevin Brannon's birthday. So, happy birthday, Kevin.
Happy birthday to you.
That's enough singing. You want to hear more from me. Anyway, happy birthday, bro. Do your show.
All right. Happy birthday. And they got me a nut and butt cake right here. Barry, you keep an eye on that, all right? Got Barry holding it down. Today we have a pretty cool show, man. Got you live on Instagram, too. What up? We get some happy birthdays and stuff as we're rolling it right here. And today we have Ray on our, pronounce your last name, Ray. Sorry, I call kids football games, and I am the worst at pronouncing names. So go ahead and pronounce your last name for us real quick.
It's Heredia. The H is silent. Heredia.
Okay.
And
actually,
my first name is actually Ronaldo, but I go by Ray. It makes it easy.
Okay. So we're going to talk today. We met at ICAST. We're going to talk about what you do with the Puerto Rican Foundation, Puerto Rico Foundation, bass fishing, tournament fishing. Things that you got going on. We're going to talk a little about fishing. We don't really make script. I just kind of write some notes. And then we're going to talk about what you do, man, that you introduce yourself and your nonprofit and what you do. And then we have a couple of ideas of maybe how we could partner between bass fishing out here in Southern California and fishing this direction. I don't know if Barry's going to be able to hold up the camera, but we'll see. We'll see what best we can do. Anyway, welcome to the show today, Ray. Hope you're having a great Wednesday.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Once happy birthday, just like everybody else said, but I'm not going to sing for you, so that's not good.
All right, man. So, Ken, tell us. We met, I think walking by the staircase at ICAST, right? You and your partner, and did I give you guys some of the books in Spanish too? Did I give you guys any workbooks?
I do recall you giving me a pamphlet. I've got it here in my pile of stuff because I brought a bunch of stuff back, of course. ICAST, we collect, and since I've been back, I've been going nonstop, so I haven't really taken a look through what I've brought back.
Yeah, Marshall here, he's real meticulous on how our learning center looks, and we have a table over there that we have in the corner that we do our rod rebuilding on, and since ICAST, we go through that first level of just emptying everything out, and then our interns, we kind of funnel through it, get all the important business cards. Obviously, you were in the top of that list because we've already had a Zoom meeting, and now here you are, ones that we consider hot leads, right? And then press kits. And then, so we've gone through that. And then now the table is kind of set up in sections so that we could go through it a little bit, go through it again. But you understand that obviously, right? You collect and then you dissect. And actually, I've got about 4 or 5 follow-up emails from them of other people that are finally doing the same thing we're doing. So I guess we're in good company because, some of our potential growth partners are reaching out with the same sentiments of just getting through the pile. So, but part of that, would you agree, Ray, since you're in the nonprofit, what you do is what's our job, right? If people that are listening that go to these events and wait for the phone to ring versus the importance of the work that we do after, right?
Correct. It's a nonstop thing, as you know quite well. You just can't sit back on your laurels and expect things to come to you. You got to reach out and beat the bushes, knock on doors to try to spread the word the best you can. And that's what you're doing, the same as what I'm trying to do for our organization.
Absolutely. Well, let's let you go ahead and talk about your organization, man. We'll get into your history. You could go again. We this is just a conversation. So if you want to pick up where, you know, for your bass fishing, kind of your story and how you got into Puerto Rican Federation, the Puerto Rico Federation and Association, and, you know, let you tell your story on how you want to present it, man. But let's hear about you, man, and what you guys are doing.
About me, I'm retired Air Force. I did over 20 years in the Air Force, retired in 2006.
Thank you for your service, man.
Thank you, my pleasure. I've been competitive fishing for almost 30 years now on my own. And about 20, when I started, I was one of the first, only person of people. There was only a few people of color that I would ever see at some of the events. Myself, my partners, Larry Stretch Gaines. And, you know, I would always wear my Puerto Rico logo on my shirt wherever I go, you know, to represent my culture, part of my culture. So, you know, I was doing this for a while. I started off, you know, I did well enough to pick up a couple sponsors that follow, you know, that support me over the years. And social media came out, really started in the, you know, 2000s, whatever, I don't know what you want to call it. It's been a minute now. But when social media came out, you know, I got into social media, put myself out there, and I saw that more Puerto Ricans and more like Hispanics in general, more people of color were involved in the industry, you know, trying to make a name for themselves and, you know, work through it. I've done a lot of seminars at Bass Pro Shops, you know, travel around the country. They pay me to do that for different sponsors. So as people saw me, I was trying to represent the Hispanic community in a positive look. And more Puerto Ricans found me, and we started following each other and talking. So around 2018, I started an organization. I was like, it's called Latin American Bass Anglers. And what it was, my reason for the concept was to give Latinos and Hispanics a chance to come together to network and understand the industry a little bit better. And, you know, from my experiences with companies and sponsorships and stuff like that, and to bring more into the industry itself. We have an annual event every year. We're coming up on our next one will be the end of March 2025. I move it around each year to a different lake here in the south. Because I'm on the East Coast. I'm currently living in Maryland. Before, when I started this, I lived in South Carolina. Because I've traveled, like I said, military. I've been all over the place. So this year will be back in South Carolina. The tournament will be, but I've had it in Georgia, Alabama, Florida. So like I said, I try to vary it around to give people an opportunity to fish different lakes, and, you know, to grow our participation, and, you know, so people can get a better understanding of fishing in general. I've always done a lot of stuff with kids, going to the schools, doing seminars, talking to the kids about. I take my truck and boat all decked out, and I talk to them about fishing. You know, because now people don't realize they have high school bass fishing teams, and those teams, you know, those guys, some of them get opportunity to get college scholarships. So I try to give those kids an opportunity, an understanding that, you know, you don't have to just focus on sports. There's another side of sports, this side, which is fishing. You know, gives them something else. I talk to them about my military career, and just try to give them a positive persona to move forward in their own lives and stuff like that. So like I said, LABA, Latin American Bass Anglers, we're in, I think, year number 8 annual event. And in 2020, I was approached about the Black Bass World Championship. And the reason it came about, the guy was talking to me. He said, hey, how come Puerto Rico is not represented? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he explained it to me that they have the World Championships, you know, they have every year. That you compete against multiple countries. So I went through the process and put a team together. COVID hit, so the team had to get pushed. The tournament got pushed back to 2020, but I put a 6-man team together, and we fished in the the 2022 Black Basketball Championship in South Carolina, Lake Mary, South Carolina. It was awesome. 25 countries were there. Countries: Germany, Italy, Portugal, Serbia, Romania. Countries you wouldn't expect to have bass. They actually fish for bass. Like I didn't expect Serbia to have bass, or those guys out there, Romania, but they do. South Africa was there, and on top of it, Puerto Rico was there. Our first year, there were 7 Latin countries there: Puerto Rico, Mexico, Costa Rica, Venezuela, El Salvador, Dominican Republic. Spain was there as well, even though they're on the other side of the world, in Europe. But so it was amazing, and it was a great event. So it was real prideful walking across the stage to the Puerto Rico national anthem. So before anybody asks, how can Puerto Rico compete, even though we're U.S. citizens? Because we were competing against the U.S. So Puerto Rico has had sovereignty since the 1940s to actually compete in the Olympics, because this is the foundation to make fishing, bass fishing, an Olympic sport. That's what there's 115 partner countries involved in this. So I'll back up that's how the World Championship came into play. So all those countries are pushing to make fishing an Olympic sport, because some people, I didn't even know fishing was actually competed. They actually competed in fishing in the Olympics in Paris in 1900, early 1900. For one time, they had I think they said 5 other countries or whatever. I posted it on my IG page one time, but they had 400 anglers competing in that event. But it hasn't gone any farther. So like I said, we fished that event, prideful walking across the stage representing Puerto Rico. So after the tournament, the president of U.S. Angling, he was like, "So Ray, you need to move forward with this." And so I had to go and get officially federated through the headquarters in Italy. They're under the FIPS and SIPS organization. I can send you the links and explain about those later. But they are the headquarters where all this takes place. They run all this. So I went through May 2023. We became officially federated. Puerto Rico is recognized, so we have an opportunity as they move forward to make this Olympic sport that Puerto Rico be represented. So like I said, October 2022, we fished that as a non-federated event. May 2023, we became officially federated. I started the nonprofit at that point. I got all that. So, because logistically, we got to pay for everything out of our own pockets for right now.
No, that's
and it's not cheap for the logistic part, for travel. So 2023, we sent 2 teams out. 7 people went to Portugal. I was one included. We went and fished the 2023 Black Basketball Championship in Portugal. We sent 16 people to the Pan American Bass Championship, which was in Lake Hamilton, Arkansas, Hot Springs, Arkansas. And we got men and women on our teams, so we're all inclusive. So we sent
how do you fund those? Do you get a lot of support from the fishing industry itself? Because I know where we're at in our nonprofit, we seem to get a lot more support locally and other organizations as they're trying to get involved in it. But maybe Vamos El Pescar, the grant, to help get Hispanic and Latino kids out fishing could be a resource. But I know when you do have to get creative when you're to put those logistics together, is there do you get any love from the fishing industry per se for support?
As of right now, no. Like I said, everything's coming out of our pockets. We've had, and I've had some of my own personal sponsors. They're willing to help me with product and for the team. But some of the other guys have sponsorship. So to me, I need financial support,
right,
to help, because a trip to Portugal was $2,500 round trip.
Right. Well, the reason I say that is because our push in this industry is that they talk about we need diversity and what we need in our industry, and then when you try to get support for it, it's not there, right? Like, hey, you need to go do this, Ray. What's okay, well, can you share some of the wealth that other bass anglers are getting because if they want new money in the fishing, right, to continue to grow our sport, recreational fishing, right, bass fishing still the type of recreational sport, and you want us to compete at a level, and it's going to go to like the Olympic style, right? And our industry has these campaigns at every summit that I've been to, and these breakfasts. I just like to see the fishing industry kind of help put their money where their mouth is. How's that? Without, I don't know who's listening to this that could hear that, but we talk about we need diversity in fishing. We need to get them out there, and then it's like, well, how do we get some of that support? You see, you wear a jersey. I wear a Bass Pro Shops jersey, right? Of all these different sports, and you have these top anglers, right, that have Jack Link's jerky and Bass Pro Shops and these big corporations that support fishing. But then how do we get those patches and that funding down to these diversity type groups like me and you both run from the industry? So yeah, I'm gonna say that part right there is the got that hopefully somebody listening will be like, yeah, well, it does take financial support. You can't trade in 10 packs of hooks to the airlines to get tickets. They can't swap them out. So how do we start really moving that needle versus just campaigning for it? So that's kind of why I wanted you on this podcast as well, so that we could talk about that part of the industry itself and who it supports and how it supports, because you could sell a lot of fishing poles. Fishing is an international sport, so somebody like you with representation down there, you fishing with pin or some of these other rods might have somebody pick up a pin rod or reel, because they're an endorsement, and that's how we're really going to grow this industry. So let's continue to push that, man, to get support from the industry itself to help not just say, hey, go do this, but okay, again, how do we mobilize and partner to make this accessible? And again, that's where your new money is going to be at. If sales are down and we're talking about sport fishing licenses being down and it going down, and then you're like, well, how do we get there? Well, you have these organizations that are trying to expand the sport into younger folks. That's going to help you sell your hooks and weights and fishing poles and bass boats in the future. So why aren't you investing back into those communities right now?
You're 100% right. And it's a struggle, and we keep. I'll keep pushing. I'm sure as you will as well. Keep pushing. That's all we can do.
Pushing, shoving.
Exactly.
But at the point, it's not so much like, again, the pushing and shoving. What I'm saying is, why do we got to push so hard when you say it's a great idea, right? Like, why don't you turn around and grab your hand and pull us along versus us pushing, right? That's what I'm going to put there, right? Because we do this, obviously, our sicko status of, we love it for the passionate reasons of the sport. So for them to talk about these things at these events, I would just like to see a little bit more support. So again, not so we don't have to keep just a pushing, because if we're putting money we're for the industry, right? We're not just trying to take a check home to put money in we're here to highlight this sport, like you said, these schools. Because I know in the schools, they want to know, is it a recreational sport? Well, then we already have PE and a football, and we have these other ones. So it's just going to be more of a liability. And maybe we don't want to support another sport. We have sports already, Oh, but it's a science, right? There's therapy about being on the water and learning about science and being outdoors and being environmental awareness, that you gotta have to manipulate fishing to get it in there when we know the value of it, right? So you always got to do this like song and dance where we're just trying to let by sharing this wonderful sport and time and community. Like, there's so much more to it where it doesn't be received, right? We're just crazy fishermen versus, again, what the benefits of it are, trying to wrap all that up to get support from all areas.
And for a lot of military vets, fishing is a great outlet for PTSD. For a bunch of guys I know from my time in service, and other guys on our teams that have served in the military. This is it gives them an opportunity. Fishing, the outdoors, gives them an opportunity to cope with some of the trauma that they've had to deal with.
And we work with one I hear called Mission Fish, man. Brian Barber, just wanted to throw his name in. He's a retired Marine, and that dude puts out a couple hundred per year. When we work with him and did some videos, awesome. And again, but his thing in Mission Fish to Fish stands for fishing. What is it? Inclusion. I'm botching it right now on the air, but it's for healing, sharing. There's a lot more to it than healing, something about it with the fish stands for Mission Fish. So just wanted to echo his name in there and let you know there's projects. Yeah, keep going.
So like I said, 2023, I sent 2 teams out. the Black Bass World Championship in Portugal. We send a team to Arkansas.
What does that cost? Again, so that way people that are listening that want to make some contribution. What is that? Let's get to the for real part of it, right? I mean, we can talk about the pretty part, but let's talk about the real logistics so people get an idea of what you're raising and what it takes. Go ahead.
So those are our website. Kevin can share is www.puertoricoangling.com. We have a donation button on there, so if people want to get interest, please. We'll take any $5. We'll take as much as we get.
Hey, can more $5 we get. Hold on, how about this one? How about this one? You could trade in your. We did one time where somebody traded in their airline points, man, for us to be able to fly to Florida.
Right. So cost wise, I did an analysis about. So the team that went to Portugal, matter of fact, I just had to pay. I got 3 teams going out this year. I got a team going to Canada, which I'll be on in September, 16 of us. I got a kayak division. This is the first year having a kayak division. 9 anglers going to South Carolina. And I got 6 people going to Italy in October for the World Championship. So I just sending out, because like I said, all our people have to pay for our own expenses. Mm-hmm. It was for the European to go to Italy, I sent out $15,000 just for the entry fee and the lodging and boat rentals. That's all part of it.
Because the reason I say that,
that's not including their travel.
That's what I mean by to be honest. Like, if you really want it if you're making it kind of out of reach, then how do we really? You could outprice people that are trying to do the right thing. You know what I mean? Like, you really have to be set up to really kind of pay to play. But if you know that those other anglers are getting the support that they need from some of those, if you got a kayak team that you're sending and there's not a kayak company that's helping you with that to get that international translation. But again, the point to that is that if it's more of an expensive rate, then it's like I go to a bar, right? I go over the hill to up to Agora Hills, which is kind of LA County line, right? Where they might charge $3 more for a cognac that we drink, right? But it kind of helps keep the riffraff out, we say, right? So by upping the cost, you already know that you're keeping people out because again, the cost that's tied into it, kind of like the same logic, right? That if we know this is what it is, we give them the opportunity, but we know that they don't really have the means to do it. So,
it's like it used to be like that with golf and tennis, if you think about it, back in the day.
I just watched that golf movie that's on Netflix right now, where they wouldn't let them from like the 50s and let them golf on their field, and they don't have the talent to do so. And even if we gave them a shot, they don't have the so exactly what you're saying. Other sports have done it, but here's the kicker. But I'm trying to ring the bell, and I don't mean to go over and over. Is that if you go to these luncheons, you hear our industry saying we need that, we need to get to these communities. Okay, well, help us support get it. So let's see where it goes.
And this past ICAST, they made an announcement that the biggest growth in fishing has been Hispanics. Mm-hmm. They made a big thing about that, about how much Hispanics the growth has come in the fishing industry that we are participating in, getting involved, new fishermen and stuff like that. So if that's the case, just like you said, it needs to be supportive. To get more, they need that representation out there to show people to get more to come into the industry.
Right.
You're not if you don't see somebody like you doing something, most of the time you're going to shy away from it. Yep. So that's my analogy, the way I see things. I do stuff people don't. I scuba dive. I do crazy stuff, adrenaline jump out of planes, bungee jump, stuff like that, because you don't really see a lot of people of color doing that.
But you also, when you were in the Air Force, you got a chance to see worldly things too.
Correct.
So that's part of it too, right? Where you're not in the environment, stuck in your little neighborhood or your block. You had a chance.
I wasn't like this anymore. Tunnel vision, my mind broadened, my awareness of life and everything broadened by being in the military, being able to travel.
Right, and you got to see, wow, this is over here, and this isn't so shit. You have this smaller communities that, again, I do a lot of work in that you're talking about, this Hispanic community where, again, we don't see much farther than our block. So how do you start to daydream and vision as far in the cool things that are out there, And we just not to go too far, but it's funny because I'm mixed too, right? Black, white, and Portuguese. So my brother's side of the family, I know more his black side, right? We had different dads, and they'd be like, "Y'all be getting in that water? Y'all be getting in that? We all crazy? Y'all be surfing?" So cultural breakdown is like it's kind of. But then if they see us do it, then you might get a few more of us to get into the water, right? Same thing. Or if they can't swim, maybe that's why they don't go into the water because you could drown, right? So if you get them some swimming lessons. Again, you get them those resources, like we say, getting you the resources to get out there. You can see how they can love doing what they love to do. It's just a matter of helping getting the resources that they need. And somebody looks like them a representative to make it seem cool enough for them to do it and get past the stereotypes that we carry on ourselves anyway. So
you're absolutely right.
So with that being said, we talk with Bash USA quite a bit, and we would like to see about how can 2025, man, we can do some tournaments over here, maybe at a small lake, because fishing and bass fishing is a beast, right? There's fishing and there's bassing that we talked about. But I know that same in our area that we could get some kids up to the lake. We have like 3 of our volunteers that do fish the lakes a lot, And how do we start merging again? Maybe if it's just like a 4-man team, right? But we wanted to talk to you about maybe helping us and working together, getting each other exposure, leaning on the industry to support these things with the contacts that I have, plus what you have. We could film it, but that was something I told you in the email as we got off the phone on our Zoom call. Came to mind and seeing about setting up some mini tourneys over here, man.
By all means, I'm all about trying to help to try to grow the sport as a whole across the country and the world. The more Hispanics to me we get involved, the better.
We need to get a African American community in our background. Even though I'm working with this organization we don't have a lot out here. Like there's like Lancaster and Pondo. I noticed because we go play football. They got all the brothers on the team and stuff, and they have their pockets in like kind of in the deserted area of Ventura County. But we're working with an organization called Afro Outdoors next month, and they even generate them into this talk too. So just to show because the Latino, but also bring in the African American type of community. And even if we have an area over here that has like a lot of Filipinos and stuff like that too. So maybe how do we do a multi thing so that way, but with the same way that you're going. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in on that, but just thinking about ways to really look into different cultures and diversity, because I just had this talk with NOAA affiliate that we work with. Every time they say diversity, it's a Hispanic, right? So it's like, are we looking at diversity or just trying to get low-income Hispanics? Because that's a lot of the ways they target them is that direction versus it's not always a economic breakdown. It could just be, where do you go? It's just not something your grandpa taught you to do. You guys went to the rodeo or you did something different. You're on a ranch growing up, so you're not on the ocean, but you're thinking about it, right? So how do we kind of break down some of that thought of just being diverse, being Hispanic? Because again, you said that at the ICAST Lec, they're the biggest ones to it, but also again, VAP and these grants that are doing it, there's no let's get African Americans out or let's get Filipinos. They say diversity, but it seems like it's always where we could broaden that diversity term, really, even females, right? That it's not just it's not just 18 to 65-year-old white man sport.
Correct. That's why I said, all right, teams, we've got women involved as well. And you bring in the African American community. My mother's African American and my father's from Puerto Rico. So I do know a bunch of African American fishermen, bass fishermen as well. Some on the West Coast that I can probably try to link you up with to talk about it. And they do a lot of tournaments there. Some of the guys I follow on social media and I deal with, and as well as here on the East Coast and throughout the country. So it's just getting people to, like you said, the industry to realize people of color and different ethnicities. And matter of fact, there's a Filipino team actually competing in the kayak division of the kayak world, the Pan American Kayak Championship in South Carolina. They've got a Philippine team that's coming to participate, and most of the people are Filipinos here in the U.S. They live here. So the chance to get more diversity into this industry is there, and we just have to keep showing our faces, show that we're out here, and try to draw more into it, as well as, like you said, getting these companies to come to get behind and realize the opportunities marketing wise they have by dealing with people like us.
Yeah, honestly. So again, and I know right now it feels like there is a shift in the industry of expanding that, right? There are some other organizations that are coming along in the fishing industry that maybe don't have as much family years in the industry to where they're making a name for themselves. I'll keep the names to a minimum, right, for this particular segment. But just again, I'm always paying attention that there are other some bigger fish that were small fish that are coming into big fish in this industry that we can reach out to and leverage that they want to start having coming to the table. Because at the end of the day, man, everything I'm involved in, from policy to fishing rights to recruitment, right? I get into a lot of these meetings, and certain gatekeepers and holders, there's a shift. Some new companies are being bought by older companies, and things are moving. So you got to find that new, right? The old model after the pandemic, and who's doing it. Again, it's not just slogans, man. It's actually that support. So I think we're in a good time and era, man, especially going into 2025, to capitalize on these things, right? Between your resources and mine, we already have kind of an idea of what we could do together, and us stumbling upon each other. And that's why iCast is so important. People that are listening, I just sent out I scheduled it to go out tomorrow about iCast. It's so cool for the industry, man. That's where you meet people that have the same ideas and visions. I put in the post where the who's, but also people that are their dreams come true at iCast, right? Bumping into people with the same ideas and then connecting to one another, especially as things are changing and growing, that we solidify our 20 years of partnerships and friendships. The people that have been in this industry for decades have those relationships. Now there's new blood where we could formulate that and get that support. And then either the older ones either jump on board, get on the boat, or some of these other ones that are looking to make some representation in the industry have outlets to utilize us, where the other ones are kind of sleeping on us because they got their old good old handshakes that are still in place,
Correct. You're absolutely right. It's a process. It's not an easy one, but if you don't, those of us that step out there to do it, we're doing it for good causes, and we're not, like you said, we're not doing it for ourselves. We're doing it to build legacies for our future generations to have these opportunities.
Yep. Did you go to the breakfast?
I did not make the breakfast. No, I did not.
So TakeMeFishing.org did this video, and it was with the little black girl and her dad, and it was about a 2-minute video about her kind of outgrowing fishing. But again, you could see the movement, right, and what they're saying, and again, I know, like, we're America, man. There's always going to be talks about different cultures and growing up, right? But the representation, right, for them to go move into African American cartoon in a good old boy type of industry, right? Like we talked about golf and these other ones. And this isn't stuff we're making up, right? This is stuff you see when you attend these meetings and stuff of what's going on. But they did step out and say, hey, look, this is, again, a new angler with her dad taking her fishing, and then she grew up, and then her daughter wanting to fish with the grandpa, and then the daughter went and got her stuff out of the closet and then went fishing. So again, you can see that there are some attempts into pursuing that versus just slogans. So again, that's what I mean by we're not the only like-minded folks in this and where fishing is going, but it is time for some of them to really recognize it. But again, there's just industries that are like that, man. Again, I don't play a whole lot of the race car too much, but again, like there's no black owners in the NFL, right? We just know that there's certain things where the gatekeepers and the holders for so long to get into those rooms and those arenas and those tables, we're getting there still. And some industries are just, it's just the way it is. And I think fishing to some degree still has some of that, but they're trying to, deviate to get that new money. Otherwise, again, our industry is going to burn out, right? If you ain't selling hooks and weights and fishing poles and fishing string, you got to do it, because again, that's how people make a living, is, and we're, like you said, we're not here to make money. We're here to make a living in fishing, but we're here to grow the industry and the sport, globally around the world. And if these industries are talking about going that direction, all we want to do is just kind of hold the feet to the fire and see which ones are about it. And I think 2025, man, again, even if it's 4 teams, that we can show up next year at iCast with some pretty cool results.
Yeah. And you do know, because at iCast, they made a big announcement that Bass Pro Shop is going to get behind the U.S. angling team, which is one of the teams we compete against. And so Johnny Morris is getting behind that to help to make that push for the Olympics, for fishing in general, which is, like you said, worldwide, international exposure for fishing. So if Johnny Morris and the Bass Pro Shop is getting behind it, that means it's getting a lot more recognition to spreading the concept of fishing competitively. And you know, we're recreational fishermen, just like you said. We don't the full-time anglers, like all the guys here in the U.S. team. That's all they do. That's their livelihood. They're full-time fishermen. Majority of our guys, your people you're dealing with, my people, we fishing is a weekend type of scenario for us. It's a weekend hobby, something we get out, you know, to enjoy, relax, competitiveness, because most of us are, you know, it's a way to stay competitive type of in a scenario. I played sports all my life, and I'm sure you did too, and stuff like that. So
no, I didn't. I'm a bodybuilder. I'm a fisherman. I'm a bodyboarder. I cannot stand being yelled at. I am so defensive. You yell at me, I cuss back at coaches and got kicked off. That's why I realized I am a one-man sport kind of guy. I like weightlifting because you start yelling at me. I even then, yeah, that's why I teach too. You put me on the spot, start yelling at me. I don't think that's the right way to get through to everybody. And I'm one of those people where yelling at me to run faster and do all this. I'm out of here. I'm going to the beach. I'm going to the beach. I just looked like I played sports, but nah, man, I didn't like the whole yelling at me and pushing me on the dirt and all that and stuff. So I didn't know, but you know what? But that's why you need two people like this, because some people that are competitive in that way, because even bodybuilding and weight, it's you versus you. Bass fishing, it's you versus you. You setting that again. You don't have, you know, it's you hours and hours of casting and repetition and repetition, trying to figure out baits. You know, by yourself, loneliness, right? It's definitely a sport of, I guess I mean by fishing versus bassing. We're fishing, you got a sport boat, we're out there having a good time. We're bass fishermen can sit on a boat with a Hostess cupcake and survive the whole day off of one. I don't even. Sometimes the bass fishermen I know, I got to go my own car, so that way when they stay out there till it gets dark, I'm like, hey, 4 hours, brother, I'm good. Caught a couple where they're not biting, but bass fishermen are sick and they'll stay out there all day. So it does have an independence of you versus you that goes along with it, and problem solving and all that other neat stuff that I will highlight for fishing. While you talk about that part, I'll bring in the benefits about again. Casting and learning and development out of that part of it, you know, for people that don't do teams type of sports, you know.
Yep. You got a little bit of both avenues in with fishing. If you fish within a team, you're still individualized, but it brings a team concept, but you still got to, like you said, process everything on your own to get to that point. The repetition, the practice with your flips, pitch, cast, and I do saltwater fishing too. I fished all over the world. I fished in Africa. I fished in Brazil, Panama, Mexico, different places. So allowing me fishing brought that up, allowed me to find, you know, to do these different things, and it brings a peace of mind to me going to these fishing for all these different species, saltwater, freshwater. I don't care if I'm out on the water; it just relaxes me in general.
I tell people my gills dry out. They're like, you don't ever get seasick? I'm like, I get sick if I don't get vitamin C.
That's what I don't think I lived in the Midwest one time. They sent me one of my bases with Nebraska, and I felt so out of sorts because I've always lived on a coast, you know, or been around the water on it. And when I was in Germany, it was the same way. I felt weird because there was not water all around me. So when I would go see a river or stream, I was like, yes, all right, here we go. You know, it was relaxing to me. In Nebraska, I felt out of place, but I did fish there. But it's still not the same as, you know, being along the coast. Just go to the ocean to look out over the ocean, or just a body of water in general on a regular basis. It kind of throws me off when I'm not around water.
No, here's a couple things on that. I'm living on the beach, right? I'll drive by and we call it a wave check. And I'll have my kids with me and like, you're going to go by the beach again, Dad? We live right there by the beach, and I'll drive by it 6 times a day. Never get tired. And then right here, man, where our learning center's at too, is some days, man, even like, you know, the pressures of life and business and what I'm doing. And I'll open up my door, man, and open up my blinds, and I'll see that ocean. And I'm just like, it's therapeutic. Just seeing the water behind my learning center will be like, fine, I'll do another 15 hours of work today, you know, for peanuts, you know. It has a calming effect just instantly of seeing where my location is at, you know, and to open it up and just see that calmness from our harbor right behind us. So I know exactly what you mean to people that are listening. And then I think even as we get older too, and this is an important part, especially for guys and men, is that we do find those places, man, where you can kind of go be one with nature, no matter what God you worship or crystals or whatever you believe in or spirits, man, there's something that is very spiritual and very cleansing about nature and being on the water. For each person, it could be bass fishing, could be walking, could be riding your bicycle, could be walking your dog, could be crawling around in a creek. But there's just something for us men, like you said, with those veterans and stuff that they're recognizing and taking in right now. So when we do make our approaches in the future of, again, we're not just all competitive fishermen or trophy hunters, that we talk about those other health benefits, especially for men nowadays, and that time to get away, right? Because
more women are doing it too. They're getting out there and realizing what the outdoors brings to them, whether it be hiking, fishing, hunting, just being out in nature. Just more women are they're getting more involved with it, and bringing more kids into it too, to see the different aspects of it. So,
and again, some of that again isn't just broken down by those barriers, are just again showing them those resources where they're at, right? You can live this far. And the reason I know that, sorry, I don't want to take up much of the time on this, but it's just the research I was doing when I was taking reservations at a sport fishing landing, they weren't local area codes. So I knew people that lived right here weren't even getting on the boat because I was taking data at the time, and they were all out of town area codes, So even though you live right here, you still might not utilize the coastal, like you say, coastal recreation. And that's something that we bring too. So again, highlighting all that neat stuff again, that you don't have to be a sicko with a big old bass boat and all these rods to still go out and get a dinghy and go out on the lake for a day and just fight mosquitoes and eat a sandwich and spend some time, for $100 that you could borrow a boat for four hours or something, and bring in all those different resources so people can jump in at whatever capacity that they're at right now, without freaking them out with huge theatrics of some of the stuff that me and you might do. It's just a lot of introductory stuff too, man. So it looks like we cover, so many different aspects, Ray, that after this call, I know, the holiday season be coming up upon us soon, but we really should look at least trying to put together one type of tournament out here. We have a few guys, our resources, and see if we could put together a 4-man team on one of our lakes out here. It's hard for us to do a series with their boats because we have that coral mussel. I don't know if you guys have that on your side, the zebra mussel. So they're not allowed. We have to quarantine our boats if we switch lakes to make sure this mussel doesn't translate into another one. But we can rent pontoons, man. Again, the logistics for me, we're problem solvers, man. We don't look at problems, we look at solutions. But as long as we have a mission to mobilize, man, I think we could pull one or two of these off by the next time we go to ICAST, man. So we should really designate that time into strategizing it and using our resources. It's not like, I know you got, again, right? That's just the crazy of nonprofit. Let's throw something else on the for us to do, but something that we could do as a collaborative effort, so it's not too much strain on either party,
Right. That's definitely something I'm open to. We can talk about definitely. I'm all about trying to help more people get involved in sport. That's what I want to see.
So give us some of your info, man, where we could find you, your information, go ahead and use the next couple minutes. We got about 2 minutes left to really highlight, and Scotty here will add the effects and different links and stuff to it as well. But go ahead and let people know, .coms and socials and that kind of stuff.
Sounds good. The Puerto Rico Sport Fishing Federation, our website is www.puertoricoangling.com. There's links on there for our Facebook and Instagram page and YouTube that I've still got to work on, because I do a lot of trying to do the editing and stuff, and it's hard to take time to edit videos. But on IG is Puerto Rico Fishing Federation is the IG page. Facebook, you can find. Matter of fact, you can find me, Ray Heredia, on Facebook, and a lot of my links go straight to the Puerto Rico page, because most of my stuff is involved with that right now. We're all about trying to grow this industry and this sport. Please, by all means, reach out if anybody has questions. Kevin, I can. My email address, I don't have a problem sending. You can go rayheredia30@hotmail.com if anybody has any questions. And I'm willing to help any which way I can to people who want to get involved in the industry.
Yeah, man. And if it's funny, I'm looking at your office, looks very similar to mine. I got the haze in the back, the growers, and I look at people's offices, man, because if it's just plain walls and you ain't got all this stuff, like you got your flags, we got our flag back there, we got different fishing posters in the back. Right now, I was just admiring our very similar taste in
my trophy walls over there that I got.
Yeah. we got 900 square feet here, and I think we used almost every inch. And then Marshall right now is looking at doing some reconstructing a corner that we can get the spider webs out and put something else in there. But Ray, it was very good talking to you.
This is my little hole that my wife lets me have in the house. She said I can do it,
right? Yeah, but you got it all in there. Like that's your cave, man. You got it all locked in. But I wrote down VAP for tournaments. We've been successful getting the Vamos El Pescar grant, so maybe we could kind of write some of these a couple of series into. We haven't done a lot of freshwater, and that might be something that we put on this year for our VAP to help us with the funding for us to do some tournaments together, man, and working. And I know that the industry itself really loves to see partnerships and collaborations. So to showcase the mission, the vision, highlighting the R3 program of recruitment, retention, showing bass fishing to grow our sport in that direction, and then utilizing partnerships from coast to coast would be, I think, ideal for the industry to get a look at and see how it can be done. And then next thing you know, they're calling us for for consulting. Like, hey, how'd you guys do that? Can we tap in? And then we use that to help us in our bigger mission, man. Always looking at big picture, man. And I'm talking to you a couple of times, even when we first met, and why you ended up on the pile of people to call first, because it feels like we got the same mission and goals, man.
Yep, I appreciate you reaching out, and I'm glad we made contact there at ICAST. Walking by, just say, hey, what's going on? And the discussion we had, it was great, and started off. And I look forward to whatever opportunities we can do to work together to make things better for all of us.
See that? So does ICAST, just real quick, does ICAST pay off? Yes, it does. As long as you're willing to do the work afterwards, but that's who the people you meet at ICAST. So why do we go every year and put together what we can to get Kevin out there or the team at a time? Because these are what the partners that you meet in the same thing under one roof. And the ASA does such a great job of putting us in the same place with the same like-minded people. And this is why ASA and ICAST is so successful international, because this is where you meet people. So if you're a business, fisherman, an angler that's trying to get out there, again, it's only buyers, sellers. You got to be somebody to kind of get in there. It's not open to the general public. But if you're in the fishing industry in some way, shape, or form and have not been to ICAST, you definitely need to get out there and check it out, but also do the work when you get home, of follow-ups and work through it. It could take a couple years to get that in, just like a bait, right? Cast. And then, get the net, got the lung. You know what I mean? And that's basically life in a whole, man. All right, Ray. I'm going to go celebrate my birthday.
Enjoy. Well deserved.
Thanks so much, Ray. Happy birthday to Kevin. And Kevin, you got to take us out the usual way.
Which way is that?
Let's go.
Oh, let's go. All right. So this is Barry, and that's my little saying is let's go. Our little California bear. Again, thank you so much, Ray, and we'll talk real soon. Let's go.
Peace. Take care. Thank you. Happy birthday.
The Real Angler Podcast with community Kevin Brannon is brought to you by Daiwa. If you want innovation and quality in your fishing products, Daiwa has what you need. Costa Sunglasses. Discover life's greatest adventures with Costa. Built to look good and be tough. Promar and Ahi USA. Premium fishing products and accessories with concepts developed by passionate anglers. Channel Island Sport Fishing. Offering deep sea fishing on quality sport fishing charter boats. And more. Mossy Oak. From hot days in the water to sweltering afternoons in the woods, we've got you covered. Outfit your obsession. The Latino Business Expo, Ventura County's largest networking event. Special thanks to Bruce at Kirby Subaru in Ventura. This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.